Tonight, a historic storm still burying western New York. At least 77 inches of snow reported in Orchard Park, New York alone, with an estimated 66 inches in just 24 hours, marking a New York State all-time record.
Orchard Park is also home to the Buffalo Bills, and it's a good thing they moved tomorrow's game out of town because it's tough to tailgate around here when I'm standing in snow in the parking lot nearly waist high. The gridiron also covered.
Briefly today, the Buffalo area is near whiteout conditions clearing to reveal damage left behind. Abandoned cars, neighborhoods still unreachable, and this bowling alley's roof caved in.
Oh, I'm so sad by this.
New York's governor surveying damage today, saying about 280 people have had to be rescued. Officials say the National Guard is helping get people to dialysis.
Because so much snow has fallen, there's really no place to put it now.
In nearby Lackawanna, New York, crews making room with the potential of up to another foot of snow heading for the region tonight.
The longer this stays, how much more of a problem does it become?
Well, it'll freeze. And if we get another snowfall, which they're predicting for this evening, it's going to make it treacherous.
The Great Lakes region hit hard and tragically. Officials say 2 New Yorkers died following cardiac events related to cleanup. And in Indiana, a plow driver was killed when authorities say his plow rolled over. Tonight, 9 million people across 6 states under winter weather alerts. Parts of Wisconsin and Michigan seeing more than 2 feet of snow as Buffalo digs out from a snowstorm that isn't done yet.
I've been around a long time, and that's as much as I've seen.
And Jesse joins us now from Buffalo, where, Jesse, the snow continues to pile up.
Yeah, Jose, you can see this is what many of the streets in Buffalo look like right now. The snow on the ground packed and hardening as we expect potentially several more inches of snow in the area overnight, making clear that cleanup is far from over. Jose?
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.
This morning, thunder snow, spin out, and more than 5.5 feet of snow piling up for a record-breaking storm. Overnight, the Buffalo area's lake-effect snowstorm became the single highest 24-hour snowfall event in New York State history.
This is very concerning because we already got our first report of a building collapse in the town of Hamburg.
Here in Lackawanna, New York, just south of Buffalo, they're moving snow by the truckload. Police say they need to make space here with even more snow on the way.
At least 66 inches reported in Orchard Park, New York, the same community where the Buffalo Bills and Cleveland Browns were supposed to play this weekend before the game was moved to Detroit. The Bills' home turf buried in snow Friday, but fans still showing their pride.
This is great football weather. Great football weather.
And another 6 to 12 inches of snow could fall in this region by tomorrow. But that didn't stop some residents from getting a head start on cleanup Friday.
It's still falling. What's the rush?
I mean, might as well get, something out the way. It's going to keep coming down.
Officials still pleading with people to stay home.
When people drive and they get stuck, that causes a log jam. It really inhibits our ability to clear the streets so that we can open up sooner.
And unfortunately, the storm has already turned deadly. Officials in Erie County, New York say 2 people died following cardiac events tied to shoveling snow.
My deepest condolences to their families at this very sad time. This snow is exceptionally heavy and wet. You have to shovel smart because cardiac events, heart attacks always occur in these situations.
And again, this is something officials are stressing for people to not overexert themselves in with this snow seen as heavy and wet. So when you are shoveling, you need to be careful. This storm is record-breaking because of how much snow we've seen and how quickly it has fallen. We needed to see more than 50 inches of snow in under 24 hours, and Orchard Park hit that with time to spare. All of this record-breaking. The last time that record was set was in 1966. Kristen and Joe, back to you.
Well, and Jesse, the images behind you certainly do tell the tale. Hard to believe it's going to continue through Sunday. Jesse, thanks for your report.
Yeah, that's what's amazing. It's not done yet. So how much more snow is coming? When's it all going to end? Let's check in with Samara Theodore for more on that. Hey, Samara.
Hey, good morning. Yes, this is rather unprecedented. We could see anywhere from 10 to 20 more inches localized as we head through the coming days. Here's a look right now at what we've seen so far. So he was talking about Orchard Park, 66 inches there, but areas like Hamburg saw 61, down in Eden 50, and check this out. Up in Natural Bridge, upstate New York, we are looking at 70 inches of snow. This just came in this morning. This is definitely one for the record books. So it's not over yet. A lot of this courtesy of the strong winds that is going to really renew that heavy snow that's traveling across the lake. So we have this lake effect snow. It's like a machine. Once it gets going, it just really doesn't stop. We're looking at historic totals through 8 p.m. So here we are at 8 p.m., still seeing snow moving into parts of southern New York there. And if you take a look at the additional snowfall totals, where we see the pinks, that's where we're looking at up to 12 inches of snow possible. Out towards Syracuse, we could see anywhere from 1 to 3 inches. Nonetheless, localized areas could see up to 20 inches of snow. So we're not quite done with all of this yet. And it's really the rate that this snow is coming down at that's making it record breaking. As a result, we have a ton of winter alerts. It's not just for the New York region and Cleveland, but also out towards Traverse City and down towards Kalamazoo. Back to you both.
All right, Samara, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.
This morning, Mother Nature's still piling it on. Over the past day, nearly a foot more of snow reported in Orchard Park, New York, bringing that area's total to more than 6 feet since Thursday. The rapid and massive accumulation causing this bowling alley roof to cave in.
It's a very devastating day for all of us in this community. This is an iconic place.
According to New York's governor, nearly 300 people have been rescued. Christopher Pierce says he became one of them. Pierce says he got frostbite and spent the night in his car.
I started shaking in the backseat. I couldn't take it anymore. I was freezing. We were out of dry clothes.
77 inches have already fallen in Orchard Park, New York, home to the Buffalo Bills, who had to fly to Detroit to play the Browns.
And it's a good thing they moved the Bills game out of town, because less than 24 hours before kickoff, this is what it looks like in the Bills parking lot. Snow almost up to my waist, with the gridiron also covered.
The city of good neighbors.
The team sharing video of players getting help from neighbors so they could dig out in time to make their flight Saturday.
When you have the equivalent amount of snow as Josh Allen is tall, which is 6'5", it's going to take some time to get in there and clean out the neighborhoods.
Again, snowfall as tall as the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. The team says only 5 of its players are taller than the total snowfall reported in Orchard Park. Between that and this wind, I can't imagine anyone throwing a football, Willie. Good thing they moved that game out of town. Back to you.
Yeah, we're getting some real-time evidence right now during your live shot of how serious those winds are. Be safe out there. Jesse Kirsch in Buffalo, thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Find your favorite recipes, celebrity interviews, uplifting stories, shop our favorite deals, and so much more with the Today app. Download it now.
Major snow emergency across 5 states tonight. The storm turning deadly in upstate New York. Already more than 4 feet of snow in Buffalo, and the bands of snow are expected to keep coming through at least Sunday now. More than 4 feet, as I mentioned, and counting in and around Buffalo. Vehicles banned on some roads and highways. And look at this time lapse tonight showing one of the bands of lake effect snow heading right toward Buffalo. Lightning and heavy snow in Hamburg, New York, where they're expecting as much as 6 feet of snow before this is done. And as we've been reporting here, the Buffalo Bills game on Sunday against Cleveland has now been moved to Detroit. Rob is going to time this out in a moment, but first, Matt Rivers again tonight near Buffalo.
Tonight, more than 4 feet of snow already in spots. Officials calling it some of the worst conditions they have ever faced.
It's unfathomable to see this type of snow come down in such a short period of time.
Those are all cars, folks.
buried here.
AccuWeather's Reed Timmer in Hamburg, New York, a town hammered with snowfall rates of up to 5 inches an hour.
I'm at the closed New York Thruway right at the Hamburg exit. You can see people sliding around out here all over the place.
This time lapse showing a wall of snow coming in off Lake Erie. As the bands move on shore in Buffalo, those storms packed with lightning, conditions perfect for thunder snow. Narrow bands walloping some areas, like the Buffalo Bills football stadium, while others saw breaks in the action. Takari Dennis is out with his brothers, helping people dig out.
My brother, he had made a little flyer he posted on Facebook.
Okay.
So we've been getting calls all morning.
Clearing this car and its roof to keep other vehicles safe.
I mean, this is the stuff that can be dangerous when it's flying off on the highway.
All right, that could cause an easy accident.
Right.
Late today, Erie County officials announcing the storm's first fatalities.
2 males who have unfortunately have perished as a result of exertion having cardiac events associated with snow shoveling and snow blowing.
Urging residents to take precautions as this storm continues through the weekend.
Well, look at those images tonight. Let's bring in Matt Rivers again this evening. And Matt, a much different picture this time from this time last night. You were telling us earlier that authorities are really urging everyone really just to play this safe, to stay indoors if they can.
Yeah, no question about it, David. I can tell you this is heavy, wet snow here in the Buffalo region, the kind of snow that can collapse roofs. And yes, officials are stressing that as residents around here dig out their driveways, their sidewalks, their cars, they do so slowly, they take breaks because clearing all of this is going to be difficult and taxing. David.
A lull in the bands of lake-effect snow there tonight. Matt Rivers, thank you. And let's get right to senior meteorologist Rob Marciano timing this out for us. Hey, Rob.
Hey, David, we're just past the halfway mark, and you see just how extraordinary these snow totals are already. 59 inches now in Orchard Park, nearly 5 feet where the Bills play. That's why they moved it. In Elma, 8 inches. Hamburg, 41 and 3 feet now in West Seneca. And that plume continues to pepper I-90, and it will kind of shift a little bit more, I think, to the downtown area of Buffalo tonight off Ontario. And look at Lake Michigan. Don't want to forget about our friends in the lower hand of Michigan. They got another 6 to 12 inches of snow coming as this flow continues to come off those Great Lakes. And we get a reinforcing shot of cold air as well. So another 1 to 2 feet from Erie to Buffalo over the next 36 hours, 2 to 4 feet from Syracuse to Watertown, the Tuck Hill Plateau. That's where the heaviest stuff is going to be. And for everybody nearly in the lower 48 continues to be cold, below freezing wind chills in places like Atlanta and Little Rock and Dallas tomorrow morning. David?
Rob Marciano with us tonight. Rob, and our thanks to you and Matt Rivers tonight.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
To New York State now, where at least 2 people are dead following a historic storm. Snowfall totals are staggering. More than 6 feet and counting in Buffalo. The deep freeze being felt across a wide swath of the country. This is the Bills Stadium in Orchard Park. It is the hardest hit town in western New York. Tara Lynch of our Buffalo affiliate WIVB is there. Tara?
Good evening, Adriana. This part of the country is used to snow, and lots of it from November well into the spring. But they rarely see anything like this massive, deadly storm that so far has killed at least 2 people. I'm here in Orchard Park, where in some places the snow is easily a foot taller than me, and it even towers over the Buffalo Bills' 6'5" quarterback, Josh Allen.
You hit a wall right at Buffalo, and it's been steady snow ever since.
A wall of snow, the storm nearing historic levels, falling almost steadily since Thursday. New York Governor Kathy Hochul has declared a state of emergency and a travel ban for 11 counties across New York State.
It's dangerous. It also means it's life-threatening.
And deadly whiteout conditions making driving nearly impossible. More than 6 feet of lake-effect snow sweeping in off Lake Erie has buried the city. Nearby Orchard Park, where the Buffalo Bills play, has seen more than 6.5 feet of snow. Tomorrow's Bills-Browns game has been shifted to Detroit. Before leaving, some neighbors dug in to help players get to the airport.
The city of good neighbors.
The National Weather Service predicts the snow will keep falling, possibly another 10 inches, at least until tomorrow afternoon. There were extensive power outages in Orchard Park yesterday, leaving some residents to using the snow as their refrigerator and their freezer. Here at Highmark Stadium, the snow has blanketed everything from the parking lot to the seats inside. Adriana?
Tara Lynch of our Buffalo affiliate WIVB, thank you.
We have to talk about this potentially historic winter storm that's hammering western New York right now. Feet of snow fallen, and it's still going. We just found out. Sadly, 2 people have died because of this storm. Let's give you a look. You can see all of it there. Some parts of the state seeing snowfall at a rate of 3 inches per hour. News 4's Adam Harding live in the hard-hit city of Buffalo. Adam, how's it looking so far where you are tonight?
Well, you can see a couple of flurries just coming by on your screen right now. We're in one of those lulls where throughout the day we've seen pockets of heavy snow and then very little snow. But throughout the afternoon into this evening and over the next couple of days, the storm will continue and bring with it a whole lot of snow. Peter Bush wasting no time trying to clear out his Buffalo neighborhood hours after the monster storm ripped through the city. Is this snow hard to move around?
It is. It's really hard moving. I mean, my mom and dad live in that house right there, and I did their driveway, and it's pretty hard, too.
You love this.
I do.
The mounds of snow towering so high, Jeff Bay stood on top of his truck to clear it off.
Give me more. Why not?
Do you think we're going to see the 4, 5, 6 feet of snow that they're talking about?
Yeah, sure. It's Buffalo, man. Okay. It's Buffalo. I mean, I've come to expect it. You know, the other day I was like, come on, bring it, bring it. Of course, when I woke up this morning, I was a little like, but, you know, we know what we're in for, man. We're here, you know.
Western New York is bracing for upwards of 4 feet of snow by week's end. Overnight, the skies opening up, the region dealing with lightning and booming thunder.
Used to it by now, but it's a lot, to be honest. It kind of reminds me of November, but what can you do? It's Buffalo.
The system will likely stay through the weekend. The Buffalo Bills, already forced to move Sunday's home game to Detroit, sharing this photo of their stadium nearly unrecognizable. So do you think you'll get rid of all the snow today and then by tomorrow you'll have to do it again?
I hope not, but it's a possibility. Maybe.
While some tried to make the best of it, others forced to schlep cans of gasoline to help keep their snowblowers powered on.
I wasn't surprised at all because this is how it is in Buffalo. This is what we need to expect, especially on the south side of Buffalo over here on Keppel Street. We get hit really hard.
You know, Natalie, when we talk about schlepping those cans of gasoline, consider this. A lot of the sidewalks still haven't been dealt with because crews are still focusing on all of those main roads. So side roads like the one we're on right now, they have been treated, but still there is plenty of snow on the ground, and it is the secondary streets. Some of them have not yet been touched, and we know this storm is going to stay with us for potentially up to the next 48 hours or so. I want to leave you on this, Natalie. We spoke with a family earlier today. They are in town for a wedding, supposed to get married tomorrow. I just spoke with the bride within the hour. They had to move a couple of things around. They're hoping they can still move forward with their nuptials. And of course, we're going to bring you their story as they get prepared to say I do as the storm rolls through. That's the latest line tonight in Buffalo. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.
But let's go now to the breaking weather news from western New York as dangerous lake effect snow is paralyzing part of that state. More than 5 feet of snow have fallen there. NBC News correspondent Marissa Parr is in Orchard Park, that is home of the Buffalo Bills. Marissa, welcome. We've heard how much snow has fallen there. God, one word, wow.
Yeah, it's hard to wrap your head around, especially when you hear that parts of Orchard Park saw 77 inches. For a little perspective, that's a full foot taller than I am. So we are going to talk about what we're seeing right now in just a moment, but I want to take you to what we saw yesterday, because right now we're in a little bit of a clear spot. Niagara is getting those heavy snow bands. That's lake effect for you, right? You can't predict it. But yesterday, it was the southern part of the Buffalo area that was just getting so hard hit. We talked to a few people who live around there with how they were doing.
We all try to help each other, but just be safe out there. That's all I can say, man. Be safe, man.
Some places are up to my hips. Some places are even higher than that.
Freeway's closed, so fortunately I'm stuck in Buffalo. It doesn't seem like I'm going anywhere.
So you could see just how much snow had gathered on us while we were outside talking to everyone that was on the street. So behind me, what you can see is the aftermath, the day after. So this is the process of trying to clear all of those roads. Some of this snow actually might be coming from the stadium where the Bills were supposed to be playing yesterday. So of course, this is the day of cleanup. We have an emergency declaration from the state. We know Governor Holcomb just said that they were sending 70 National Guard members to the hardest hit areas. Orchard Park is one of them. We're in Erie County, so across the county in those hardest hit areas, we actually have a tweet from the Erie County executive showing National Guard members arriving at the emergency center. And our understanding is that one of the things they're helping out with is picking people up and taking them to their dialysis treatments. Obviously, that's something that is very time sensitive. But then on top of that, they're helping with the cleanup because it is a mess. You might be seeing some visuals of what we saw, which were those streets that just had not yet been cleared. And that can be a really dangerous thing because imagine if there's an emergency, ambulances can't get through. And then lastly, the other danger is that with so much snow, it really puts a lot of pressure on roofs. So that is something that they're also keeping an eye on. Back to you.
Which means they are very busy keeping an eye on a lot of things. Marissa Parra, thank you so much.
Oh, it's just incredible to see a couple of things, how fast the cleanup is underway. There are truckloads of snow being removed from that city every minute, it seems like. But earlier, we were in one of the hardest hit areas around Orchard Park, that's south of Buffalo, where an incredible 195 centimeters of snow fell. That was enough to completely bury cars. Incredible drifts coming off of the roofs of houses, and also playgrounds that don't look like playgrounds anymore. There was a fence around one that was about 4 feet high and you could barely see it. So that's just a sign of how much snow is there. And as far as getting here to Niagara Falls, it wasn't easy. One of the major highways, Interstate 90, remained closed throughout the day. There were transport trucks lining the side streets waiting for that to open. Farah?
All right. And what's happening on our side of the border where you are?
Well, it's snowing here in Niagara Falls. We're tracking this same snow squall. It's actually teamed up with a Lake Ontario snow squall and bringing near zero visibility. They're expecting another 15 to about 30 centimeters of snow in this area starting in the next hour or two. So it's not done yet. Tomorrow the winds shift, and that could bring more snow to areas like the north end of Toronto that hasn't really seen it as of yet. Farah?
Well, we are getting closer to winter. Anthony Farnell, thanks so much. Have a safe drive home.
This has been an historic storm. Without a doubt, it's one for the record books.
A fatal snowstorm has been pounding the Great Lakes region for days now.
Fox's Madeline Rivera in Buffalo, New York tonight, where the forecast has been one not seen in more than 20 years.
The snowfall may be mostly over in western New York, but now people have the difficult task of digging out.
Feet of snow bury much of western New York, and some areas topping 6 feet. A massive lake-effect snowstorm slamming the region, triggering road closures and flight cancellations the weekend before Thanksgiving.
We're in Buffalo. This is what Buffalo's about. This is what we're known for, the weather.
Area officials warn this is not the time to travel, but to stay home, as cars stuck on the roads were towed off to make way for emergency vehicles.
Travel ban, once again, means no travel. Law enforcement has written nearly 400 tickets. When you have 77 inches of snow fall in 24 hours, you're not going to be able to remove it immediately.
Some snowplows getting stuck in the heaviest hit parts. Even with more snow falling, the storm is already being referred to as historic, given how much snow has fallen hour by hour.
We had originally been told 2 to 3, then possibly 3 to 4, 4 to 5, but we actually hit 6 inches an hour, which is why we believe we'll be making history with having the most amount of snowfall in a 24-hour period right here in the state of New York. Never happened like this before.
Lake effect snow is common in late fall and early winter as cold air flows over the warmer waters of the Great Lakes. But this much snow is unusual.
This is not typical, not normal.
Because of the storm, today's matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the Cleveland Browns has been moved to Detroit out of an abundance of caution. In South Buffalo, New York, Malda Rivera, Fox News.
Quick update on that. The Bills arrived in the Motor City last night and defeated the Browns 31-23 today. But it sort of begs the question, where do they go now? If there's a travel ban, you can't fly back to Buffalo right now, can you? To stay in Detroit for a couple days?
That probably. Yeah. Hang out and find a good restaurant or two.
Which they have.
Could you imagine that amount of snow?
No,
6 feet.
These are people who pride themselves on dealing with snow, but this is a ridiculous amount.
I mean, 77 inches of snow in one storm. You can't fathom it, right? I mean, it's hard to imagine that much snow in the pictures, and videos on social media where people are opening their garage doors and it's just all snow, just crazy. That is a wild amount of lake effect snow.
7:10 right now. Yeah. Your screen is just showing a massive mess of snow. These are just some of the pictures of historic snowstorm that's blanketing sections of western New York, particularly the Southtown section of the Buffalo region. So far, more than 4 feet of lake effect snow has hit the ground, with more to come. Neighbors being impacted by Lake Erie are hoping that the storm will come to an end soon, and it's just the beginning for the folks up there in Buffalo. You know it's pretty bad in Buffalo, Mike, when the Buffalo Bills in the NFL canceled their game for this Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. They're moving their game to Detroit. So normally, those folks in Buffalo, they're pretty hardy. But even them, they're just for the safety of everybody involved. They're going to Detroit.
Well, the other day they put a driving ban in parts of the city. You can't even go out on the roads anymore. That more typical February, March, but this is an early season event. I want to show you how this works. It's kind of like the lake effect snow machine. The water temperature of the lake is kind of warm compared to the air temperature. In fact, it's in the upper 40s to around 50. The air upstairs in the atmosphere, about 5,000 feet, that's in the single digits. So this water has the warmer feel to it. And we get that moisture to rise. And the warm air rises with that moisture. It hits some winds coming across the lake, cools, condenses into clouds, and then it causes these nasty lake effect snow squall bands. And some of these can put down 1 to 4 inches an hour. Some of that video that we just showed you, some of that activity started, and part of that accumulation was just in a few hours. What's going to happen, though, is the change in the wind direction is going to change a little bit over the next couple of days. So things will get better for Buffalo and the surrounding area, but they're still going to have snow today.
A massive cleanup effort is underway in the South Towns after areas like Hamburg and Orchard Park saw more than 80 inches of snow. To On Your Side's Ron Plants joining us live from the ECC South Campus, where cleanup continues there. Hi there, Ron.
Yeah, hey, Kate, I've heard that you like to do snow angels. So how about coming out here and doing a snow angel on that mountain right there? Mountain of snow here at the ECC South Campus. This is where they are bringing in a lot of the snow that they're picking up with those huge payloader or front high lift, front loaders, whatever they call them, that they're picking up from the side of roads, and they're bringing here to this location, frankly, just to dump it here in the parking lot. They are using those massive machines as well as those huge dump trucks that a lot of times you see with construction equipment when they're doing highway projects in the spring and summer. That's the kind of equipment that's doing this work. These are a lot of private contractors who have been brought in here. Union Concrete is one of those contractors, along with some other companies. Photojournalist Penny Adams just pointed out she saw some of these trucks coming up from Hornell, New York, down on the southern tier. So those are the people that are doing this work, and they just keep piling this up. These trucks keep coming in and out of here. Now, in terms of those payloaders, they are the ones that can actually lift this heavy, wet snow that we've been talking about. The residential plows, that's a lot of times what we hire if we've got a driveway. I know I have one, and you got a plowing service. Well, they can't get it done in this snow. They've tried, but frankly, they run into all sorts of problems. And we actually spoke to one of those plow operators about how the fact that they're just kind of ineffective. I hate to use that word. They just can't handle it in this kind of snow. Here's what he had to say.
You can't just turn your plow and just plow down the street. You turn into a side-to-side motion. None with the 2 feet, 4 feet, 5 feet. It got so wet and heavy that as you're trying to ram the snow mounds, it's blowing hydraulic lines, it's snapping people's plows, and just makes it extremely hard.
And these payloaders, that seems to be the only thing that gets through this, right?
Payloaders and the snow blowers, you know, if you have somebody with the shovel, then they knock down the sides for you and you can shoot the snow up and out. But yeah, the only way to get rid of the snow is to actually pick it up and move it.
Yeah, that gentleman, frankly, he did not want to go on camera because he said he was bone tired, and I don't blame him. But that is, again, what they're dealing with in terms of these conditions. That is why the towns down here, Hamburg, Orchard Park, Evans, some of the other communities, actually have, again, had to bring in these contractors working through Erie County, working through the state of New York to actually get this work done with the snow removal. So, again, Kate, that is the situation here. Now, I do know that Erie County started this contest to actually name the snowplows. How about we start a contest to actually name this mountain behind me? I'm thinking of Kilimanjaro South. I don't know, Kate, what do you think?
I think it sounds great. Any naming contest that we can start, I'm all for it here on Most Buffalo. So, Ron, thank you. Be careful out there, friend.
Buildings starting to crack under the weight of as much as 6 feet of snow. Governor Kathy Hochul visited a bowling alley in Hamburg near Buffalo that collapsed earlier today. Roads virtually impassable tonight. Check out this long line of semi-trucks stranded in the snow here. At least 70 National Guard members trying to clear those roads to help people out there. Look at these images. These are the conditions that drivers are facing here. Look at that, a literal wall of snow barreling toward Buffalo, the city skyline disappearing behind it. And they could face scenes like this one once again tonight. So far, the bullseye of the storm just south of Buffalo, Orchard Park, buried at least 77 in at least 77 inches of snow. Hamburg, more than 73 inches. News 4's Adam Harding traveled to both towns today. He is safely back in Buffalo tonight. Adam, what have you seen?
Well, Kim, I got to tell you, I've never seen anything like this. We woke up today to about another foot of snow here in Buffalo. This is a whole lot of snow. When you travel about 10 miles south, it is virtually impossible to wrap your head around just how much snow they have seen over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and they are not out of it yet.
Traffic turmoil, the monster storm crippling western New York. Trucks stranded, some for up to 24 hours. The winter wallop relentless.
We got stuck here because the I-90 got closed. There was like 10 trucks stuck here.
Then we blasted the heat. I bummed some food from a friend of mine. I didn't have any food or water at the time. So it's rough, man, you know.
The jaw-dropping snow totals continuing to climb. In Hamburg, they're dealing with nearly 6 feet.
We've got people driving around and they're getting stuck and making roads impassable for us.
The fire chief warning drivers to stay off the roads.
Apparently nobody heeded the warnings and they continue to try and drive and get through things. The town highway departments, the county highway departments, the state, they're doing their best to keep the roads open, but it's tough with the snowfall that we've had. It's pretty much inundated us.
Today, Governor Hochul touring the damage.
So it's been in my family close to 100 years.
Including Howard Bray Miller's family-owned small business, this bowling alley torn apart.
I put my whole life in this business and, you know, in the center of the village here, and I met so many people, and it's just it's heartbreaking, you know, because all my family history and everything.
Overnight, more severe weather. This cell phone video showing the lake effect storm, a clear divide with conditions improving just beyond this massive wall.
They took us to a shelter.
The storm proving too strong for Rusty D'Angelo.
It's just a lot of snow. And I've got a Honda Accord which sits low and it didn't like a lot of snow.
And I'll tell you, Gemma, a lot of cars that are a lot bigger still having a hard time navigating through all of that snow. It's just so hard to understand 6 feet of snow until you are in it yourself. I have to give a tip of the cap to our photojournalist, Eddie Alonso. He drove us the 10 miles from Buffalo down to Hamburg, Orchard Park. Normally, it should only take a couple of minutes, 10, 15-minute drive. It took us several hours to get back here to the city. And as you mentioned tonight, the storm is not over. This lake effect system is hovering over us. Another round of winter weather expected. Hopefully this time tomorrow, it will be over. For now, we're live in Buffalo. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.
Tip of the cap to both of you, Adam. Glad that you are safe. The pictures from Buffalo, truly incredible. This time lapse shows one of those lake effect snow bands rolling off Lake Erie here. Let's bring in Storm Team 4's Matt Brickman. You're tracking more bands of snow. As Adam said, this is far from over.
Yeah, he mentioned hovering that snowstorm just north of Buffalo right now and about to move back south. There are two heavy bands we're watching. You can see this one just north of Buffalo and the other one in upstate New York. This will all start to move south later on tonight and produce another 4, 6, 8 inches of snow by tomorrow morning. The heaviest totals have been south of Buffalo so far, but we've also seen some eye-popping numbers in upstate New York. Keep an eye on Oswego, too, over the next couple of days. They could add another 1.5 to 2 feet of snow, as this could continue there until Monday, maybe even Tuesday morning. Here's the list. Orchard Park, we mentioned, 77 inches there. Hamburg close behind, but there's over 6 feet of snow up by Watertown. That's Natural Bridge, New York. Watertown itself with 57 inches and Buffalo proper with over 31 inches of snow. For us, it's the cold and is about to get colder these next couple of mornings. Bitter temperatures. We'll talk more about that and when we can see a warm up in just a bit. Kelma.
Okay, Matt, thank you.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It is 6:17 on your Friday morning. We just finished up a press conference with Erie County, learning more about how the South towns are really getting hit hard with this storm, that snow ban, and the North towns are right now doing much better.
Okay, so just want to one more time reiterate the idea that the travel advisory has been issued for parts of the North towns. That means Amherst, Grand Island, Newstead, Clarence, all within that travel advisory. The ban has been lifted there. Everyone else is still in that travel ban until further notice. That includes Lancaster, the city of Buffalo, Cheektowaga. Everyone there has to stay off the roads.
And if you're there, you know exactly why. That snow is falling at a rate of 2, maybe 3 inches per hour. That's where 7 News reporter James Catato is this morning. And you can see, just by looking at him, James, you're right in the middle of what's falling.
Yeah, Ed, Katie, it's no secret why there is a travel advisory in the first place. My photographer Alex and I have been trying to get to one of the hardest hit areas in the South towns, West Seneca, to go live from there. And we haven't made a ton of progress through Orchard Park because the visibility is so low, the roads are so bad. And like you guys said, I'm getting snowed on. There is so much snow around the area, but I did want to update you. I did talk to the Department of Public Works just minutes ago in West Seneca. So I'm going to read off some of the things that he told me so I can relay that to you, especially the residents of West Seneca. West Seneca crews came in at 8 o'clock last night. They've been at it ever since. Their main goal is to focus first on the main roads that are the most traveled, then the secondary streets, and then neighborhoods lastly. They never have gotten a break yet that they thought they would get from 3 to 6 a.m. because, again, look at this snow. The snow has been coming down so much, pretty much all night long. They've been through the routes multiple times, and like Aaron said before last break, West Seneca 16 inches. It's almost like it's been untouched. They've been through the routes multiple times, and it looks like that they haven't even gone through the routes once. So much snow in West Seneca has just been accumulating throughout the night and passable for main and secondary roads right now. So it is safe for cars to go around other cars on double-laned roads for main and secondary roads, but that doesn't mean that they recommend that you get out onto the streets. They're telling me that if you don't have to go anywhere, don't go anywhere, because the main message that's been relayed pretty much this entire morning, Ed and Katie, is that if the plows are out, let them work until you absolutely have to get out of the house so that you can stay as safe as possible and the roads can be as clear as possible.
And James, just to be totally clear, there is a travel ban in place where you are in Orchard Park. So frankly, no one should be on the road if they don't have to be, unless they are essential personnel or authorized to be on the road.
James, while you were out and you were driving, what was your visibility like? How were the roads? We know you're an essential worker, so you can be on the roads, but what was your drive like there?
It is very, very rough, Ed and Katie. I mean, Alex and I we're driving and it's so hard to see. We had to have our four-way caution lights on the entire way that we were going. West Seneca from Orchard Park is about a 19-minute drive, and we felt like we were driving for maybe 10, 12 minutes, and we only made up about 3 minutes of ground, and that's because the visibility is so low in Orchard Park. Right now, we're right outside of Catholic Health Mercy Ambulatory Care Center. That's how far we've gotten from Highmark Stadium in trying to get to West Seneca. So the weather and the visibility is awful right now.
Can we take James full one more time and let's pull out our photographer Alex. I know you're listening to. I want to give everyone a wide shot of what this actually looks like because we see the snow is falling, we see James in the distance, but here's a good idea of what that visibility and that low visibility looks like with all of that blowing snow, those blizzard-like conditions. You can barely see James off in the distance.
Well, and just look at how much snow is on the ground too, and you have to take that into consideration if you're headed out on the roads at all. Again, only essential workers should be headed out today.
And we're continuing to monitor the snowfall, and out in the thick of it all this morning is Daybreak's Heather Lee live in Orchard Park this morning. Heather, how are things looking right now from where you are?
Hey there, Pete and Melissa. Good morning. Within the past 5 minutes or so, we've actually had some thunder snow adding to the snow that has been falling very quickly all morning long, accumulating here. We are at Quaker Crossing along Mile Strip in Orchard Park. And joining me now is Orchard Park Police Chief Pat Fitzgerald. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. You've got an update when it comes to the roads and also a state of emergency in Orchard Park. Tell me about that.
We do. The town and village of Orchard Park are going to be enacting effective immediately a state of emergency here and establishing our own driving ban.
Okay, so obviously there is one in effect in Erie County, but how does having one specific to the town and village help you cover the town and deal with what you have to deal with over the next 24, 48 hours?
So we know the benefits and we know the effectiveness of having a driving ban, especially during circumstances like we're experiencing right now. So by having our own is helpful to us to be able to control the movement on the roads and allow our plow drivers to get out there and clear the roads and do so safely, and also reduce our call volume of our vehicles that are being involved in crashes and sliding off the road and things like that.
All right, let's talk about your patrols. I know that you've got men and women on 12-hour shifts, 12 on, 12 off. How busy have they been, and what have they been dealing with over the night?
So as a result of the driving ban and the forecasted weather, people have been extremely helpful to us by staying off the roads. Our call volume is manageable at this time. We do have additional officers that have been brought in that are working. We have additional staff in our 911 dispatch center that have been working throughout the night and will continue so throughout the weekend.
And we talked yesterday a little bit about, we joked that it was an employee hotel because obviously one of the concerns is getting staff in and getting them home safely. We also just had a little bit of thunder snow again. You've got a special spot for people to make sure that they are safe and not driving themselves.
So we do. You know, we learned a lot during the 2014 storm. You know, our ability with 12-hour rolling shifts to be able to get people into work and be able to get them back home safe. And it really doesn't make a lot of sense to take 2-3 hours to get somebody home and then have to try and get that next shift in. So we do have the ability to house our staff if we're unable to, because of weather conditions and call volume, be able to get them home and get them back. So we do have that set up.
All right. And you talked about lessons learned from 2014 and Snowvember. You weren't in charge of the department at that time, but you were out on patrol and certainly learned a lot. Talk about the gates on the 219 and also those teams that were formed back then that you're bringing back if necessary now.
Yeah, so based on our weather conditions and you know what we're going to have over the next 24 to 48 hours, we will be utilizing what we refer to as strike teams. So these are strategically placed teams. You know, we've stressed right from the beginning through our planning and through our communication leading up to and during the event of the fact that we all need to work together. So we do form strike teams. These are groups of individuals that are dispatched to different calls throughout the town and the village. We know that it takes a long time at times based on the weather to get where we need to get. So the strike team, led by a snowplow or a front-end loader, involves police officers, paramedics, and members of our fire department.
Yeah, because obviously if you can't get out of your driveway, imagine trying to get to an emergency in time. Orchard Park Police Chief Pat Fitzgerald. Chief, thank you so much. Be safe to you. I'm sure we'll be talking with you quite a bit over the next few days, and tell your officers to be safe as well. Pete and Melissa, we are going to send it back inside to you. We're going to keep monitoring the situation in Orchard Park right now. I don't think we're going anywhere too quickly, certainly not very quickly. We'll have another update coming up in just a little bit.
No, please don't go anywhere. Stay safe out there, Heather, and to the chief as well. Thank you very much. Pretty as a picture, Pete, out there.
Now tonight to Orchard Park, one of the hardest hit areas during this monster lake effect storm. Our Kristen Moran is there now live, where many people are just getting out for the first time after being snowed in all weekend. Kristen.
Hey, Jeff, good evening. That's right, a very hard hit area. So where does that all that snow go, right? It comes here to ECC South Campus. You can see this mountain of snow behind me, the bulldozers continuing to push that snow up. That's only going to continue to grow as residents in Orchard Park get underway with that cleanup. Orchard Park residents breathing a sigh of relief.
I'm happy it's over.
It's been a wild ride. I hope it's behind us.
Orchard Park got slammed with 77 inches of snow. We're talking more than 6 feet.
The first night that it snowed in, we knew it was going to be a disaster, way worse than we expected.
You could not get your car out, that's for sure.
Many of them now taking their first steps out of their home since the snow started on Thursday night.
My wife and 3 kids are all home, so we just kind of hunkered down for the duration of it, and this is really our first day emerging.
Many people, though, still snowed in. I had to climb through the thigh-high snow just to get to Ava Vareca, who was shoveling out tenants.
They were trapped in for a couple of days too, and then I just got over here to shovel them out. So.
And you said this driveway just got plowed yesterday.
Yes. So it's been not plowed for 3 days probably now.
Snow stacked high on top of cars. This now a familiar sight at many homes in OP.
My car was covered with, they say 77 inches of snow. So I'm just digging it out right now. Hopefully let the sun do a little work too.
And while many folks like Joe Cannon took the day to clear out, others took the opportunity just to get out and play.
Just kind of playing outside a lot and enjoying the snow.
We're just playing outside.
Sledding and playing on the playground.
Yeah. And a lot of these kids thrilled to be off school. So, no school?
Yeah, tomorrow or today. This is great.
But if there's one thing the OP folks can agree on, this was a lot of snow.
My neighbors and I talked after 2014 and thought that was the storm of a lifetime, but we got another one 8 years later, so I hope we don't get another one in 8 years.
All right, Noah, I did speak with Orchard Park's Department of Public Works. They say they are continuing that process of clearing up the main roads, getting to the side roads. But the one thing they really recommend to folks in Orchard Park is to try and stay off the roads if you can, so the plows can make their way through and make them clear for you.